So I recently ran across a young man who was lifting on a Discord server, stating that he has some sort of problems because he cannot hit depth, but he can squat a lot of weight, or what he thinks is a lot of weight. He then posted a video, so trying to be honest and open about it and asking for feedback, and I'm not making fun of this young man. Posted a lift which honestly would have been ridiculed on most social media platforms. At very high squats, basically quarter squats, like you'll see some of the explosive athletes train with, like sprinters and things like that. So I mean, quarter squats do have their place in certain training populations, but this was not a full to-depth squat, which I think this young man was trying to train for. I think he's trying to train for overall strength and hypertrophy, which these very short quarter squats don't typically do well in training for. So anyhow, one of the recommendations I personally had was that he needed to just work with a chair, like one I'm sitting in here. And next to what I have is the box that I use for box squats, set up at the 12-inch height that I use when I do box squats. So here I am in a chair, and here's a box set at 12 inches, and I am not a young man. This man was less than half my age. So anyhow, the first step most people need to do is consider getting out of a squat, like getting off of a chair or a toilet or anything else. So you would be getting up out of this chair, like you don't just sit up from this position here, right? And I don't have any arm rails or anything on this chair to push off of. So the thing that I need to do is lean forward, get my feet back behind my knees. So notice my knees have traveled forward, they're even with my toes. And now my heels and my feet are in a position to support my weight as I get up, right? So I would be like this, lean forward, and then now I'm standing. And notice that when I'm about to stand, my hip and my kneecap, they're roughly parallel. So this chair, which is like a 16 or 17 heights to this chair, again, compare it to this 12-inch box that it's next to, that's about a parallel squat. So again, get my heels, everything stacked up, boom, that's a squat. And so the reason why I have the box is to illustrate that once a young person were to train just getting out of the chair and understanding that is the range of motion, next they can go on to a box, and now significantly lower, right? My hip is well below the top of my knee, but the same principles apply, right? And I've got to resort my legs here because I do need to get a little bit more different hip articulation, I should say. So again, I have nothing to support myself on with this chair, always just to give my arms a little bit more range of motion. But yeah, I'm going to lean forward. Now, if you look at the way I am, this is pretty much the way a person would be in something akin to a low bar back squat. So lean forward and up, right? Then you can do something like grab a kettlebell. Here's a 20-kilogram kettlebell. I can go ahead and set this up. Oop. Notice that I wasn't ready for that. So I need to be a little bit more upright because of the additional weight I have. But again, now I'm training the range of motion for a squat using nothing more than a box. And from there, obviously, I can use heavier and heavier weights in something like a goblet squat to build up that range of motion, to build up what is really the mental part of lifting. So, not to gloss over this lightly, but almost any training regimen that has you on a beginner program has a period of time that's going to benefit from the novice effect. And the novice effect is nothing more than skill acquisition. I shouldn't say nothing more. Primarily, like 90% skill acquisition. And when I say skill acquisition, what I mean by that is demonstrating the motion itself. So things like bench press, obviously, that's not very hard. Deadlift, also kind of not as hard. Not as much range of motion in the knees and hips. You're just picking something up and standing up with it. Hence why you also see a lot of bad deadlift videos out there on the internet, because a lot of people are used to picking up things with very rounded backs. But in the squat, a lot of people kind of, I don't know, they putting the barbell on their back resorts the way they think about things. Because now they're thinking about the interface of the hands and the barbell and all this stuff, and not thinking about the fact that the squat is hips and knees. That's most of the work. You got some ankle articulation, and the rest of it's just stabilizing that barbell. So in order to make sure that we acquire the proper things, like a better term there, to demonstrate the skill of squatting, we can use simple implements. Again, this chair works to get me to effectively almost a parallel squat. Something like this 12-inch box gets me below parallel. I can use something like a kettlebell to weight that range of motion, build the range of motion up, and then move into a barbell. You do not have to start with barbell squats to start an effective training program. You could start with hand weights. It doesn't matter, as long as you're starting learning the motions, putting more resistance to the motions, and then eventually moving to implements that allow you to scale up the weight even more. So just wanted to, again, say some words based on some stuff I've seen in the past. It's not a unique situation. A lot of young men typically young men, get into the gym, load the barbell up very quickly, and then end up not squatting to full depth and missing out on what are truly the benefits of the exercise. It's nice to squat 405 pounds, but if it's not the depth, it's not quite the same. So you want to scale that up, you want to get the full range of motion, and you want to get the true benefits of that range of motion with the loading, which is building muscle. That's what you're in the gym for. It's not to put the weight on the bar, it's to build muscle. So with that being said, go out there, use what you have, use what you can get a hold of to build the skill to demonstrate strength. That's the most important part. Skill to demonstrate your strength.